This episode of Internet Today is brought to you by Purple.
Have you seen what the hell is going on down in Texas and, of course, the neighboring states right now? Because it's insane, and it's already become a full-blown crisis where millions of people are without power during one of the worst winter storms that state has ever seen.
Everything really is bigger in Texas.
Even the problems.
Yeah.
People are hunkering down in their homes without heat and just trying to survive as the power grid in the state struggles to even stay in operation through rolling blackouts or just a complete lack of power and heat for days in some cases.
It's not good. And
No.
Right now it's being reported that nearly 3/4 of the lower 48 states here in America are covered in snow. And that extends all the way down to South Texas, which is why you're seeing some shocking, surreal photos and videos out of that area, including images of local beaches in Texas completely covered in snow, as well as the news of this storm dominating your social and news feeds.
Yeah, if you see, you brought up the icicles hanging from indoor fans.
Yeah, it's like the amount of just, aside from the effect on human life,
Yes.
the amount of property damage this is causing just from like structural damage to buildings because of all like the ice and the melting ice is crazy. But yeah, there's a ton of pictures of people's indoor fans with just icicles hanging on them.
The houses are not built for cold. They're built for heat. So it's very hard for them to stay warm in these houses, especially when there's no heating source. And people have already died trying to keep their houses warm through ovens being on and cars running and all kinds of very bad ideas.
Yeah.
I saw...
it's not built for any of this.
No. There was a video that I saw on Twitter going around of someone's fish tank that was just completely frozen with the fish obviously still inside. So
It's
hopefully...
like an itchy and scratchy like thing.
Hopefully the
not
fish
supposed to
wake up
happen.
when it thaws.
Yeah, I don't know how that works, but I hope for the best for them.
Yeah.
But yeah, many people are justifiably wondering how the electrical grid in Texas was so ill-prepared for a winter storm like this one, especially when these types of storms aren't out of the ordinary in other parts of the country. I live in the north and this never happened to me. What could the differences be?
Yeah, it's a bit unfair to point and laugh at Texas for not being entirely prepared for weather like this because historically it's never been this sudden and severe.
No.
And having a bunch of people puffing their chests and talking about what Texas is experiencing right now is
Oh,
just
that's cute.
par for the course. Yeah, like even our joke constantly is, oh, you think that's cold? Why don't you come to Winnipeg?
Yeah, up here in Winnipeg, we walk to school wearing shorts and a t-shirt and weather twice as bad as what you got there in Texas. It sounds like you better buck up, bucko.
No, literally in states like that, they have either underground passageways or above ground sealed passageways that people use to get to different buildings.
And they build houses with better insulation required by law. There's a lot of things.
But look, there are very real problems with how Texas runs its energy systems that has resulted in these winter storms being far more catastrophic to the citizens there than they ever needed to be. And yeah, it should go without saying that there are no shortage of reps in politics that have consistently mocked the heat and fire-related blackouts in California.
Dan Crenshaw, Ted Cruz.
Who are now dealing with the same issues right now, albeit on the other end of the thermometer.
I saw a lot of great screenshots of over the summer when LA had like 120 degrees Fahrenheit heat waves, and when that happens, it puts a strain on our power grid. So it was Mayor Garcetti, who sucks, but he was right when he said, hey, turn your stuff off.
Well, in addition
and
to
then
that,
Dan Crenshaw's like, this is what it's like to live under socialist Democrat leadership.
And in addition to that, surges in power can result in things going wrong with the power grid in different ways, which can cause fires here and then are spread because of our dry climate. It's a bad situation all around. We just don't need to hear it from Ted Cruz and Dan Crenshaw.
So Ted Cruz tweeted last year, California is now unable to perform even basic functions of civilization, like having reliable electricity. Biden, Harris, and AOC want to make California's failed energy policy the standard nationwide. Hope you don't like air conditioning. And then less than a month later, Texas Congressman Dan Crenshaw took a jab at California as well, saying, this is what happens when the Democrats are left in charge. Why California's liberal climate policies are causing electricity blackouts. And also, Alexa, show me what happens when you let Democrats control energy policy. Fuck you, Dan Crenshaw.
Yeah, he's been doing not so much backtracking today on Twitter, but like just giving excuses as to how it's different.
I'm sorry. Yeah.
But then you have Lauren Boebert, the woman who carries her gun at the Capitol.
A name that sounds made up.
Yeah, and gave everyone in her restaurant diarrhea, allegedly.
It's true.
Was one of the more prominent voices encouraging the events that transpired on January 6th, allegedly. Now, despite very clearly not living in Texas, she shoved her way in and placed the blame on renewable energy sources like wind turbines, which, by the way, she calls windmills, saying, you know how you unfreeze frozen windmills? By sending up a helicopter that shoots out chemicals onto the blades. you need fuel for the helicopter. Keep that in mind when thinking how green windmills are. Now, obviously, that sets aside the fact that even if they had to send helicopters up to de-ice these turbines during bad winter storms, the amount of energy produced overall compared to the gas used on those helicopters to de-ice the things, it's just an outrageous comparison. And also, just add in the fact that most modern wind turbines have the ability to de-ice themselves since they exist in areas with extreme winter climates. This argument is still stupid, though, because oil refineries and natural gas facilities have, surprise, also shut down during this storm. So, I mean, sorry to get sidetracked with all of that, but it's just aggravating on top of everything else.
This is just Lauren Boebert being annoyed that Marjorie Taylor Greene has overtaken her profile as the craziest QAnon Republican.
Look, wouldn't it be great to see them two go at it? No, I'm the craziest one. No, me.
Yeah, and then they kiss. But back to why everything failed in Texas and why on Tuesday of this week, over 4 million residents were without power. Well, one of the reasons is due to the state's energy isolation. If you look at a map of the power grid system in the United States of America, you'll see that it's split up into 3 main parts: the eastern-western interconnections, and then the Texas interconnections. So basically, Texas is on its own. It's an island that is mainly disconnected from everyone else when it comes to the power grid, which keeps them out of reach of the Federal Power Commission and away from all that pesky government interference.
Yes, it's a striking map because Texas is just alone on this map.
I mean, Texas is geographically very fucking isolated.
Yeah.
Like even within Texas itself, the population centers are in this like pretty narrow strip. Then the rest of the state is desolate. So
but yeah,
it kind of makes sense.
If other states needed to pull from a power grid, there is that option. Texas is closed off. But to get the full scope of what's happening and why, we reached out to Texas Public Radio's environmental issues reporter, Dominic Anthony Walsh, with a few questions. So here's my little question back and forth with Dominic, who helps us to understand exactly what's going on.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Happy to be here.
So why in particular is this storm so bad, and why is it having such a detrimental effect on the power grid in Texas?
Yeah, so Texas is generally more prepared for extreme heat events. It makes sense given where we are further south. When it comes to extreme winter events, back I think in 2011, we had some issues with our power grid, a few rolling blackouts, but nothing on the scale of what we're seeing now. And it just gets down to a problem of preparation. A lot of these power plants are not prepared for these types of extreme weather events during the winter. And so what we saw was Sunday night, ERCOT, which is the operator of the state grid, because we have our own electric grid here in Texas.
Yeah, and we'll get to that in a second.
But basically that operator said on Sunday night, we saw a record level of demand for winter. At the same time, some of these icy conditions and very cold weather conditions started to knock a lot of the power generators offline. So you had increased demand from customers who wanted to heat their homes during a very unusual cold snap in Texas. At the same time, the supply was going down, and that's what triggered these, what they call rolling blackouts. But at this point, it's not really rolling. It's persistent for a lot of people. There are millions of Texans right now who have been without power for a very long time.
Yeah, and obviously it's not a good place to be when you're without power in an extreme cold weather situation. A lot of people that I've seen online, even friends of mine who have been without power for over 24 hours now, are saying that inside their homes it's down to 20 degrees, 15 degrees. So obviously,
yeah, they're not made for winter. They're like the home I'm in right now. There's a lot of towels and blankets and some extra stuff added to the windows. Mm-hmm. Texas homes are designed to shed heat during the summer. Yeah. So that's what it does during the winter too. It sheds heat.
So going back to the Texas power grid. So just talk a bit about how the Texas power grid operates and what it means to be essentially isolated from the rest of the country. Like today was the first day I looked at a map of the power grids in the United States, and it's like, oh, you can clearly see that Texas is its own thing down there. So explain why that is and how it operates.
Yeah, it's a crazy image to see. So, the rest of the country, you have the kind of Western grid for states, on the West. You got the Eastern grid, and then you have the Texas grid. The kind of reasoning for that was, state officials wanted to escape federal regulations. They wanted to basically kind of let the market regulate itself is how they might put it. And so, there are some connections, I think like 1 or 2 to the Eastern grid, I believe. And then there is a connection to Mexico. So at some point over the weekend or late last week, we actually did import some power from Mexico. But the fundamental issue is basically if you are connected to the rest of the country in the grid in that way, and you do have kind of interstate connections going on a very frequent kind of heavy basis, you get more regulations. In Texas, there's an ongoing debate about whether regulations are good or bad, and that's why we have the grid that we do. Basically, just that the state government doesn't want federal regulations, and that lack of regulation, contributed to what's going on today. It was interesting. Just like quick side note, I was just listening to a press conference with ERCOT, again the operator of the state grid. Yeah. And one of the officials made the point in response to a question a reporter asked, you have these weatherization guidelines for power plants. Are they enforceable? The response was, well, there is a penalty if you shut down during a scarcity event. And when he started to go into detail, it became apparent that what he meant was the ERCOT doesn't find them, the state doesn't find them, the plants aren't able to take advantage of how high the prices go for power if they aren't able to supply power. So basically, the only real penalty for failing to weatherize, according to ERCOT, is when there's a scarcity event like the one we're in, you can't, if your plant's not on, there's really no other regulation. So all that's to say that's kind of why Texas is the way it is, has its own grid, wants to escape regulation and let the market kind of regulate itself.
Yeah, and we've obviously seen like some finger pointing online at specifically renewable energy resources, things like wind turbines, frozen wind turbines, specifically in Texas right now. Is there any truth to that? And how do the renewable energy sources compare to like fossil fuels, specifically with regards to what's happening right now?
Yeah, so I mean, there are some frozen wind turbines. There's some solar panels that have been impacted. For sure, like every power source has been impacted by this event. But going back to ERCOT, they have kind of a forecast of what they expect to get from these various different sources. Throughout this event, for the past few days, renewable energy is performing, relatively close, near, at, or even sometimes above what is expected of renewable energies by ERCOT. So, sure, there are some frozen wind generators. It would be great to have those online. But by and large, renewable energy has been pretty solid throughout this event. And then you kind of turn your attention over to the thermal generation plants, coal-powered plants, gas-powered plants. That's where the real issues are. At that press conference earlier, ERCOT mentioned that that's where the bulk of the current shortage is in fossil fuel plants that have been knocked offline. So yeah, it's not an accurate argument. I've seen it made widely that there are frozen wind turbines and that's the reason we're in the state we are. No, all of the power grid has been impacted. Fossil fuels have been impacted the most, and we've also had record demand. Those things coupled together is what led to the current situation.
And so what would it take or what's it going to take to bring things back online? And when do you think people can expect to be back to normal in the state of Texas?
Yeah, so that's been a question we've been trying to get a straight answer to. The messaging from, ERCOT and a lot of the utilities is hang tight, we're working on it. ERCOT mentioned today they've brought, a few thousand megawatts back online. It's still far short of where the demand is. Demand is still way, way higher than what's available in terms of generation right now. And so the answer tends to be wait till it gets warmer. And so for a lot of Texas, that's going to be, the next couple of days, depending on where you are, even into the weekend, before a lot of these things are resolved. And in addition to the intentional blackouts related to these supply demand issues, there's also storm-related blackouts. There's infrastructure that's gone down, that's gone offline. That's going to take time to repair. There's no real clear answer right now on when everything's going to be back to normal. The expectation is by the weekend at the latest, hopefully, fingers crossed.
Yeah. Okay. And then what is it going to take to prevent another event like this from happening in the future? I mean, is there any simple answer, or is it something that's going to have to be looked at as a result of this winter storm?
Well, for sure, a lot of people are going to be looking for answers to that exact question.
Mm-hmm.
Governor Greg Abbott today declared that this should be an emergency item for the state legislature, which is in session right now, in terms of reviewing, investigating what happened, and reforming the state grid to make sure it doesn't happen again. Federal investigators have also signaled that they are going to be looking into what caused this situation and also coming up with solutions on how to prevent it. The experts you talk to will tell you it's relatively simple. Weatherize the plants, plan for these extreme events. The message has been from the experts that I've spoken with is that these extreme weather events are going to become more and more common as the climate continues to change. Texas tends to be a bit reluctant when it comes to acknowledging that reality. 2 years ago during the last state legislative session, the Republican-controlled legislature didn't hold a single hearing on these issues, on any bill related to climate change. So, we'll see what happens this time around. It might be framed more as just, we had an extreme weather event, let's prepare for the next one. So, in terms of weatherizing plants, increasing battery capacity so that you can have more storage when you do have reserves. There's a lot of different things that, can be done. But the kind of broader thing that this has shown a line on is infrastructure is vulnerable to these extreme weather events that are going to be more common with climate change. It's not just the electric grid. There's a lot of infrastructure vulnerable. So, it'll be kind of an open question as to whether that gets addressed at the state level or the federal level. There's a lot of things that can change. And, time will tell. There's only a couple months left, at least at the state level, for the legislative session before it goes into recess for 2 years. So we'll see what changes they make, if any.
All right. And in the meantime, anyone that maybe has power briefly as it comes back on, or is watching this on a phone that still has battery, what should people that are affected be doing right now to be as safe as possible?
Yeah, so ERCOT and a lot of the public utilities are asking people to conserve energy. I know a lot of people expressed frustration last night when they saw, the downtown skyline in San Antonio and other cities around Texas that were still lit up. But, that's the request, is that people try to conserve power, turn their thermostats down or off, unplug unnecessary appliances, and yeah, try to stay warm, I guess. Well, wear multiple layers of clothing.
What do you think the reason is? Is there a good enough reason that certain parts of cities are lit up while others are not?
Yeah, so in San Antonio, at least, kind of setting aside downtown for a moment and looking at the city more broadly, at least a third of customers of our utility in San Antonio live on the same circuit as what's been termed a critical service, whether it's a hospital or a fire station. If you live on that same circuit, you don't go offline. That's the case in the place I'm at right now, we think, because the power hasn't gone off at all. But in terms of downtown, some of it could be circuit related. It's difficult to know. There's been a lot of questions asked about that. Mm-hmm. Right now, city management in San Antonio is responding to some of those concerns where they can. They turned off the lights at the Alamo Dome, the big football stadium. Yeah. I think they tried to get it at the
so they have to go through
Americas.
But yeah, if it's on a grid, you can't if a house is on a grid, you would have to specifically go do it one by one. Like the stadium has to get shut off separately if it's on the same grid as something else. So it's not as easy as just turning certain things off and on.
Right. Yeah. Okay. So it's a matter of companies, organizations. If it's a city-owned site, it's a matter of those individual entities kind of addressing it on their own.
Okay.
But yeah, it's. I was on the east side of San Antonio in my apartment last night with the lights out and the power off, the water off. And I was looking downtown at a skyline that, was kind of fully lit up. So I understand how people are frustrated with that.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks for joining us and thanks for helping us understand everything that's going on. Where can people find you?
So if you want to get in touch with me, you can follow me at _Dominic Anthony. Mm-hmm. That's on Twitter. I think that's also my handle on Instagram. My work email is down right now, but you can try to get in touch with me at Dominic, just my first name, at tpr.org. And then all of our reporting on these issues is available at tpr.org.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining us, and stay safe. Stay as safe as possible.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me.
All right, so we hope that helped everyone get a better understanding of what the heck's going on in Texas right now.
Yeah.
And we honestly hope that everyone stays safe and warm out there.
Yeah, put towels onto the doors. Literally stay in one room. Use your body heat, and if you're staying with anyone else, use your body heat to stay warm. I saw a good thread of like just very bleak tips on like move all your furniture to like the walls, put all your dirty clothes on the floor. You basically just want to like you want to make an igloo of you and your family members.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
But before we move on, the fucking craziest thing I saw today was the former mayor, like barely former, he resigned like last week. Mm-hmm. The former mayor of the city called Colorado City, Texas. Mm-hmm. This guy, Tim Boyd. He posted something on Facebook to all of the snowflakes out there who are upset about grandma freezing to death right now. This is what Tim Boyd wrote before quickly deleting it because people didn't take it very well.
Rightfully angry? Okay.
Let me hurt some feelings while I have a minute. No one owes you or your family anything, nor is it the local government's responsibility to support you during trying times like this. Sink or swim, it's your choice. The city and county, along with power providers or any other service, owes you nothing. I'm sick and tired of people looking for a damn handout. If you don't have electricity, you step up and come up with a game plan to keep your family warm and safe. If you have no water, you deal without and think outside of the box to survive and supply water to your family. If you're sitting at home in the cold because you have no power and are sitting there waiting for someone to come rescue you because you're lazy, it's the direct result of your raising. Only the strong will survive and the weak will perish. Folks, God has given us the tools to support ourselves in times like this. This is sadly a product of a socialist government where they feed people to believe that the few will work and others will become dependent for handouts. Am I sorry that you have been dealing without electricity and water? Yes. But I'll be damned if I'm going to provide for anyone that is capable of doing it themselves. We have lost sight of those in need and those that take advantage of the system and mesh them into one group. Bottom line, quit crying and looking for a handout. Get off your ass and take care of your own family. Bottom line, don't be part of the problem, be part of the solution. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
I mean, you got to hand it to him. If you're going to go full force, like libertarian on it, you might as well like dig your heels into the ground and commit to that, I guess.
The government that you pay taxes to and the power
owes you nothing.
The power company that you pay a monthly bill to, they don't owe you shit. Stop whining.
I also like the idea that, like, if you're a God-fearing, ultra-Christian throughout time, like, you never died of any kind of preventable illness or weather condition or anything.
Nope.
They're just like, no, like, if God wants you to live, you'll live.
Yeah.
Just like those fish that are frozen in the fish tank. If God chooses, he's got a lot on his plate right now, but if he gets to the fish and he's like, all right, let's let the fish live. Yeah. You know, they got kids, they need a pet.
Or Jesus could turn it into thousands of fish.
It could be.
They
could
be in that bucket. Order of wine. But anyways, it's wild. Really, like, if you're in Texas,
we're thinking about you.
It's fucked up. And like
a lot of our friends are posting photos, some fun, some not, depending on where you live. A lot of people like, hey, the temperature inside of my house right now is 10 degrees. There's no heat. It's bad.
Oh my God.
Retirement homes, nursing homes are being evacuated. There's like reports of people having to go pick up their family members from assisted care facilities because the power shut out there.
Yeah, in the middle of a pandemic.
It's really bad.
Yeah. So let's move on now to something that's a little more upbeat. Starting with a wonderful update to a story that we've been covering for the past week. But first, let's do a quick second to thank today's sponsor, Purple. We're glad that they're back because we've been covering a bunch of pillow nonsense for weeks now. So it's good to be able to let you know where to get an actual good pillow or even a full-blown mattress since you might not want the ones you see on the TV.
Yeah, so you throw a bunch of bedding on a bunch of different mattresses and sure, they look all pretty much the same.
Rectangular.
The same goes for pillows. But peel away the layers, look at what's inside, and you'll see that they aren't all created equal. And that's what makes every Purple pillow and mattress unlike anything you've ever slept on. The Purple Grid sets the Purple mattress apart from every other mattress. It's a patented comfort technology that instantly adapts to your body's natural shape and sleep style. With over 1,800 open-air channels designed to neutralize body heat, Purple provides a cooling effect other mattresses can't replicate.
And this cutting-edge technology doesn't stop with the mattresses. Every Purple pillow is engineered with the Grid for total head and neck support and absolute airflow, so you're always on the cool side of the pillow. Purple's proprietary technology has been innovating comfort for over 15 years, And yeah, I love this damn pillow.
My wife stole my purple pillow from me, and I haven't gotten it back yet. It's been weeks.
Well,
I have to get another one.
Yeah, happy Valentine's Day, babe.
It's too good.
Yeah, mine, I before I had this pillow, I was sleeping on like 3 shitty pillows. And, you know, not good for the neck. I'm like back to sleeping on literally just one pillow, the purple pillow. It's all you need.
Yeah.
It's a lot more comfy than one pillow deserves to be. And during the summertime, no sweat on that neck.
Yeah.
The airflow is good.
You can try every Purple product risk-free with free shipping and returns. And Purple also has financing available as low as 0% APR for qualified customers. So experience the Purple Grid and you'll sleep like you never have before. Go to purple.com/todaydaily10 and use our promo code todaydaily10. For a limited time, you'll get 10% off any order that's $200 or more. So go to purple.com/todaydaily10, promo code todaydaily10 for 10% off any order of $200 or more. Terms do apply.
Okay, now back with an update to that story that won't go away. The Gorilla Glue hair saga. And we know what you're saying. How the hell could there be any more news regarding this situation? A woman put Gorilla Glue spray-on adhesive in her hair. It basically froze her hair to her scalp. She went to the ER. They couldn't help. She finally got it out thanks to the help of a plastic surgeon who did the work for free. And that was it, right?
Well, now, if you'll remember, during the whole ordeal, people were sending money to a GoFundMe to help offset the cost of Tessica's inevitable medical bills. And while she did go to the ER that one time, her problem was fixed by a doctor who removed it at no charge. Now, she could have kept that money and said, yeah, I've been through a miserable ordeal where a lot of people were, sure, concerned about my well-being, but plenty more were laughing at me. So why not just treat myself?
Yeah.
Buy myself something nice. But no, turns out Tessica has decided to donate the funds raised on her GoFundMe to charity. Quote, she plans to keep around $1,000 to cover her bills from an unsuccessful emergency room visit, as well as some for her flight to California, then donate the rest to Restore, Obang's foundation that helps get reconstructive surgery for people in need overseas.
Obang being the plastic surgeon.
Yes, who helped her.
Yeah, I saw it might have been a video or a comment on the video or it was on Twitter, but like, yeah, someone was saying like this doctor, like they'd met him before. He does a lot of like work for the good of the humankind.
So there you go. She took
nice.
The ER cost minus flights to and from California to get the procedure done, and the rest, around $20,000 or so, is going to the Restore Foundation, which is going to help people with reconstructive surgery needs.
Good, that's
great.
nice.
So there you go. As much of a nice ending to this whole saga as you could honestly hope for.
Yeah.
So that's great. At least it turned out better than that damn cat lawyer. I'm still torn up about that. And it sucks because I see people posting wholesome things about it.
Like, no, he's not a good guy. He's a bad person.
I'm not going to be the one to tell him because you were the one to tell me and I felt bad. And so I'm not going to rain on these people's parade, but it does make me upset every time I see like a new, like someone did a cross stitch of the cat lawyer or something.
Man, can't have anything anymore. And in another instance of happiness found online today, though, literally Happy Gilmore himself, Adam Sandler, absolutely crushing a ball using the technique utilized by his character from the movie Happy Gilmore, due to the fact that it's been 25 years since this movie came out.
Apparently.
Matt Damon morphing into a corpse.
Yeah.
I feel extremely old, obviously, but here you go. Let's watch life imitate art.
That's history right there.
Yeah.
Okay, it's been 25 years since I've done this. Let's see what happens. I'm scared. Shooter McGavin, this is for you. And I'm not lying to you, that is smashed. Smashed. And that went pretty well. You dead, Shooter. Ha 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 ha.
And of course, Shooter McGavin, a.k.a. Christopher McDonald, responded to the video with a clip of his own where he gets back into character to teach Happy that it's not about the drive, but it's about the short game. Here you go.
I eat pieces of shit like you for breakfast.
You eat pieces of shit for breakfast?
Nice drive, Gilmore. 25 years, huh? Let's see if it's Shooter's tour. Check it out. Oh, yeah. It's all about the short game. Drive for show, putt for the dough. Money. Shooter. Still got it. Well, thank you to all the fans, and thank you to you, Adam Sandler. And why don't you just meet me at the 9th green at 9, Gilmore? Little secret of the pros. Okay? Oh, and Gilmore, wear something nice.
All right, now back to reality.
Oh, there goes gravity.
Because as you're probably aware by now, Donald Trump was acquitted. Donald Trump innocent. That was on Saturday following the end of his second impeachment trial in the Senate, and very predictable result. I feel bad for you if you thought it was going to work out differently, but still very aggravating that despite refusing to find him guilty in the Senate, Minority Leader Mitch McConnell basically said, well, yeah, he's guilty, and he's definitely responsible for the insurrection on the Capitol on January 6th. Like, this would not have happened if he hadn't done a bunch of things.
We just didn't punish him for it.
He said he's like practically and morally responsible, but quote, McConnell said that Trump was practically and morally responsible for the deadly siege. McConnell also left open the possibility that Trump could face civil or criminal charges for his role in the riots, even though he was acquitted by the Senate. Quote, the leader of the free world cannot spend weeks thundering that shadowy forces are stealing our country and then feign surprise. President Trump is still liable for everything he did while he was in office as an ordinary citizen, unless the statute of limitations has run. He didn't get away with anything yet, Mitch McConnell said, before letting him get away with everything.
Yeah. Well, I let the gate open and the dog got out, and sure. I mean, maybe I should have closed that.
Also, Democrats are such fucking cucks.
They were supposed to call actual witnesses, and we're like, it's time for Valentine's Day.
This was over so fast. They could have dragged this. Remember how long the fucking Benghazi hearings were? This impeachment trial could have gone on for months. They didn't even have time to call witnesses, and literally new evidence was coming out while this fucking impeachment shit was happening. Literally the night before, they decided to just hold the vote. There was a bunch of new stuff where it's okay,
Well, and then publicly, they were like, well, it's Valentine's Day. We want to get home to our families. Literally, fuck you.
Yeah.
You chose this job.
Just the most cucked political.
And then, look, you make fun of Trump for doing dumb shit while catastrophic things are happening. You got to do it to Biden. I am so sick of watching
playing Mario Kart with his granddaughter.
It's look, okay, sure. Yeah. Should the president be able to play Mario Kart with his granddaughter? Sure. Is it fucking aggravating that this is the biggest headline surrounding the name Biden that's going around while Texas literally freezes to death?
The center left media industry has gone fully back into Obama mode. Even though there is a fucking pandemic, terrible things are happening.
Yeah.
People are really suffering. I don't need a cool president. I need a president that's actually gonna, at the very least, try to do the things he fucking promised to try to do while he was running for president.
The Secret Service let him drive the car himself.
Shut the fuck up.
Literally shut the fuck up.
Healthcare, please.
Also,
please.
Why are you on vacation? It's been less than a month since you got inaugurated.
Where are you going? It's a pandemic. I haven't gone anywhere.
I'm going stir crazy.
Yeah, I'm stuck at home.
Anyways, well, we knew that once Trump was acquitted, there would be no stopping him.
Yeah.
And that he would very soon return to public eye with a chip on his shoulder, no less. And didn't take long at all, because on Tuesday afternoon, Trump released a public statement through his super PAC that was aimed directly at Mitch McConnell, saying this: Mitch is a dour, sullen, and unsmiling political hack. And if Republican senators are going to stay with him, they will not win again.
Oh, he's the roast king.
He will never do what needs to be done or what is right for our country. Where necessary and appropriate, I will back primary rivals who espouse making America great again and our policy of America first. We want brilliant, strong, thoughtful, and compassionate leadership.
So the rallies are coming back, folks. Trump rallies are back on the menu.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Although, unless he plans to run again, which he totally can now that he's been acquitted, I don't really see why he would really put that much effort into it. Because, even after he, his
super PAC is going to be funded by special interests who guide him on people that they want to put in office that he can rally behind.
He's too selfish. The reason Georgia had both of its fucking Senate seats flip blue had a lot to do with the fact that Donald Trump just didn't fucking care anymore.
Yeah, but for whatever reason, conservatives and specifically traditional Republicans don't understand that. They are terrified of this man, and at a visceral level.
Yeah.
So,
anyway, looking like there's going to be two Republican parties going forward: the Trump party, and then whatever is left of the traditional conservative party. Not much.
No, and they're all getting ostracized too. So
yeah. It should be interesting to watch, but. The same thing is slowly but surely happening to the Democrats as the divide between centrist Dems and the more left-leaning parts of the party continue to clash. The problem is the institutional center of the Democratic Party is doing everything in its power to keep the further left stuff as far away
the
from
opposite
power.
happening on the Republican side.
Republicans are smart because as soon as they realize people like Trump a lot more than they like any of us, let's embrace that shit.
Yeah.
Whereas the Democrats, no one fucking likes Joe Biden. Even the people who say they like Joe Biden now don't like Joe Biden.
Yeah.
They just like that he's not Donald Trump. People actually like Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and
Ilhan Omar.
Yeah, and Raphael Warnock and these other people. They make them feel like they're being
Dare
heard.
I even say Pete Buttigieg reaches a new sect of Democrats, which is technically good, although I don't agree with him on everything. But what I'm saying is look, we're going to have, everyone's like, oh, we need a third party. No, we're going to have 4 parties real soon.
Which doesn't work in our stupid fucking political system.
Yeah, what a fun future we have in store. Anyways, it was cool to see Happy Gilmore smash that golf ball.
Yeah, that was cool.
Yeah.
I miss the 90s.
Our presidents used to get blowjobs in the 90s. It was cool.
Yeah, it was awesome.
I didn't have my mic on the entire time.
Oh, no.
It's fine. I'll use that.
All
it's
right.
really not that big of a deal. Plus, I talk long enough to get you on yours.
Yep.
Anyways, that's it for today's episode of The Audio Was Messed Up. I'm going to leave that in, me excusing myself for not putting my mic on. Watch our most recent video of Weekly Weird News right over here, and we'll see you guys soon for some tech news.
Bye.